Day 6 of Broncos training camp, and it appears the team has suffered its first serious injury of camp. Tim Patrick, the Broncos' star wide receiver, was carted off the field. It looked like a knee injury, but we don't know how serious it is just yet. Hello, and thank you for joining us for our Broncos training camp daily recap. I'm Phil Milani, alongside Aric DiLalla. Nick Ferguson out on assignment, Aric. A dark moment there, when camp has to stop, essentially. Tim Patrick screaming about his knee. What did you see on the play?
Yeah, well, Tim went up to catch kind of a contested ball working against Isang Bassi. After he made the catch, he came down, was able to come down okay, took a couple of steps, and that's when he planted. Knee gave out a little bit, and you saw him go to the ground pretty quickly, Phil. The entire team gathered around him. They carted him off. A scary moment, I think, and difficult for this team to suffer such a major injury so early in training camp, because you talk about what Courtland Sutton might be able to do, you talk about what Jerry Jeudy might be able to do, but Tim Patrick has been the most consistent receiver over the last couple of years, leads them in touchdowns, makes contested catches, doesn't drop passes. I mean, you could argue that he's the most valuable receiver of the three. To lose him, again, we don't know how long, but it looks like it's serious. It's not good news for the Broncos.
You feel bad for Tim Patrick. 11 touchdowns over the last 2 seasons, and it really felt like he was about to be this breakout star for the Broncos. Of course, he signed an extension or a new contract here at the end of last season, so you just feel bad for him. Tim Patrick, obviously a guy who had a major injury in college at Utah, had to be off the field for 18 months when he was in college. So we wish Tim Patrick the best as we find out, right now as we're recording this after practice, we don't know how serious it is, but assuming after an MRI, we'll find out a little bit later on here. Aric, I guess the question for the team now is, who can step into that role or at least attempt to try and fill those shoes?
Yeah, it's got to be a few different guys, I think. Obviously, you need more now from Courtland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy. They've got to take their games to a different level. I think you need size, because you do have guys like Montrell Washington, like Kendall Hinton, KJ Hamler, obviously. He's still working back into things off his hip and ACL injury. But those guys don't have the size that Tim Patrick had, so I don't know if you're looking at a guy like a Seth Williams, a Tyree Cleveland, if it's an undrafted receiver out there right now. But the Broncos, Phil, they're getting kind of thin at receiver in general right now, because Hamler's not doing team reps, Tyree Cleveland's still out with a throat injury, and then of course Tim Patrick. So they've got to kind of piecemeal some things together. I wouldn't be surprised if George Paton goes and makes a move at some point, but it's not possible to replace with one person the production that Tim Patrick had. And the emotional aspect of it too. Kareem Jackson called him the heart and soul of that wide receiver group. That's all part of it as you try to figure out how to move forward.
Yeah, definitely. It was like, let's stop practice and regroup here after he went down. Here's what Courtland Sutton, a fellow wide receiver, had to say about the injury.
It hurts, you see a guy who works his butt off all off season. His preparation is second to none. He does everything he's supposed to do to be able to put himself in a position to go out and be successful. So to see him go down with an injury, it's very unfortunate, and we're just praying for the best, and continue to pray for him, as we sit and wait.
Okay, so moving on from the Tim Patrick injury here, the Broncos in full pads for the first time during training camp. Aric, what were some of your other takeaways that we saw out there?
Yeah, I mean, with the pads on, you can see the run game a little bit. I thought the Broncos had some good run plays at times with Javonte Williams, obviously a little bit more physical of a runner. He was able to break through. Montrell Washington, Phil, we mentioned him earlier. He had a great day, a couple of touchdown passes, including a really deep throw at one point. And then finally, Phil, the offense, things are kind of coming in phases, but at the end of practice, you had a 2-minute drill. The first team offense was not able to get a first down, was not able to move the ball there in either of their 2 opportunities. Obviously, that's what Russell Wilson is known for, right? Those game-winning drives, those comebacks, having his team never be out of it. You hope they put that together, but during this practice, they weren't able to do that.
Head coach Nathaniel Hackett said that this was a better practice than the one he was so disappointed in on Monday. Aric, I'm wondering, is it time to be concerned about this now? The Tim Patrick injury seems like the offensive line, there's been a lot of pressure on the quarterbacks. Are you starting to get concerned, or it's too early?
I think it's still too early. I mean, Tim Patrick in his injury, that's obviously a major concern, but I view that as a different sort of deal than everything else that's going on. I think they're still putting in plays. You're still trying to get things right and make them perfect. And then in terms of the offensive line, I think that's just going to take some time to work itself out. Obviously, you don't even know right now if that's going to be the starting offensive line. Billy Turner could still come back and put himself in there at right tackle or right guard. And so we'll just have to see there. If it's still this way in a few weeks, I think you start to get concerned. But I think given the experience Russ has, I think that helps a lot. And Phil, you do have kind of an easier start to the season than the way the schedule ends up. So I still think the Broncos will be okay, but maybe worth monitoring here over the coming weeks.
Yeah, I think when you got a guy like Russ, you don't hit the panic button for a long time. And Cortland Sutton said that they're continuing to work on it. Things are slowly starting to get better. So I think that we give them the benefit of the doubt right now. So, all right, that's going to do it for our Day 6 recap. I don't know about you. I really missed Nick Ferguson today.
Geez, sorry, Phil. I did my best.
This didn't quite feel like a neutral zone, though, so we tried to keep it professional here. We'll let the goofiness come out a little bit later in the week on the neutral zone. All right, that's going to do it for us. For Aric DiLalla, I'm Phil Milani. This has been our Broncos training camp daily recap.